Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, the SNP have done a major U-turn on a policy they've always been very strongly held beliefs on, and it surprised everyone, and it's angered a lot of people, and particularly it's angered people in their own party, and that's the rules on genetically engineering food. They have changed their policy now to allow farmers to plant and grow genetically edited crops. This is in order, they say, to make them stronger and more resilient. But it's an incredibly bad idea. And I'll talk you through it for a couple of major points. Number one is ownership. Now, food, you'd think, if you planted seeds, grew crops, reaped the crop, and then planted those seeds and grew them again, that's how it works. And that's how it worked for thousands of years. But now what happens is, if you're buying these things and they're genetically edited, they're subject to copyright. So a farmer can't just take the seeds, plant the seeds, grow it, then take the seeds off those and replant them. No, that's not allowed. You have to go and buy new seeds to keep the profits of the company going. You're not allowed to replant your own seeds. Bad enough, number one. Bad enough, number two is this, though. Imagine you have got a genetically engineered crop. It doesn't matter what it is. We'll say for the sake of it, wheat. We don't do much wheat in Scotland, I know. But say, for example, wheat. You've got all this wheat genetically engineered. But some of it is accidentally cross-pollinating with a guy next door who doesn't have genetically engineered wheat. He won't buy the genetically engineered wheat seeds. He's just getting the normal seeds. But because of the cross-pollination, he now finds that they are genetically altered. They've now got copyrighted genes. The copyright holder comes along and goes, wait, you who haven't bought our seeds have got our wheat. Well, I didn't plant them. It's cross-pollination from him. It's his fault. He gave it away. Yeah, but it's still ours. We want that wheat. Your whole field now is ours. And he goes, no, I need that to make my money. No, you've lost that. That's our wheat now because we own the copyright on it. Who does that farmer sue? Does he sue this farmer? Does he sue the bees? Nobody knows. It's never been tested in court. Another major problem is distribution. Now, as it stands in Britain and in Europe, genetically moderated food is allowed, but it has to be marked as genetically engineered. Now, soybeans and, not wheat, corn in America is so contaminated that they are deemed to be, all of them, genetically modified food. So any American corn is genetically modified, even if it's not, because the risk is so high that there will be some genetically modified in there. Same with soybeans. So all American soybeans, for example, are genetically modified. They have to be sold that way with labels on. And that's fine in America. But here's the thing. What do you do in this country if that happens? How do you know that the guy next door's wheat is or isn't genetically modified? And what about the storage? Do they get mixed somewhere? You can't say whether that is or isn't genetically modified by the grain. You can go and get one single wheat germ, but you've got to test every single one. But the only way to test them is to destroy them. It's madness. And so at that point, every single wheat grain in Britain would have to be marked as genetically modified. The only trouble there is that carries a tariff, and there is a problem with distribution, and it can't go into certain things, can't go into child food, for example. There's all sorts of things because of the germ lines. And so they have these issues. These issues have never been tested or produced. And yet these people, the SNP, think they are clever enough to be able to make the rule on this and do it and go ahead and say, yay. Do you trust them? They're buffoons. Do you think that they can legislate for things like this? For gene editing in plants? Do you think they can legislate to get blame, to get insurance, to sort out all the copyright? Do you think the SNP's lawyers are good enough to take on the lawyers of the likes of Monsanto, who spend billions a year, and literally billions a year, in legal fees, never mind doing their actual day of business? Monsanto has a legal department that literally, I think it employs something like 10,000 people. That's just its legal department. And don't think that Monsanto, they just grow genetically engineered food. No. They're the people that make the credit cards, the actual plastic out the credit cards. They're a huge conglomerate. They make so much. This is why they've got whole divisions of lawyers. You think the Scottish government's going to beat them when they come knocking at the copyright door? Get out of here. And all the other things. Oh, we can guarantee it won't mix into food. No, you can't. America couldn't. And they're bigger and better at this shit than the SNP. So don't believe a bloody word they say. They're all morons. Anyway, Jim Fairley, he's the one that's coming up with this brilliant, genius idea. He's saying, oh, but Scotland can be a leader. We can be this and we can be... And they're going to try and be the best in the world at it. Please, God, no. Scotland, you're not. You're just not. Give it up. And who wants to force feed Frankenstein foods into their children without their knowledge? Do we know what the long-term side effects are? No, of course not, because there hasn't been long enough to find out what the long-term side effects are. These people are dangerous. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. And that's the problem. Scientists will always push the envelope. It's up to politicians to say enough. Only with Scotland, you haven't got the politicians clever enough to say enough. Unless, of course, the other thing, corruption. That's always got to be considered when you're talking about the SNP. Have people been paid off to come up with this decision? Is there little numbered bank accounts in Switzerland? Do they have little boxes with gold coins in, dotted around all these little cities? You know, here's your key, go to your underground vault, see what's inside it, etc. Because let's be facing it, I wouldn't put it past them. Would you? But the nationalist group are pretty bad. The Greens are up in arms about it. There's members of the SNP themselves that are saying no. You know, it's one of those policies that unites everybody, left or right, because regardless of your political affiliations, the future of your children and the health and safety of their food supply tends to concentrate the mind. And I've got to say this one, the SNP have got it so very, very wrong. Wheat, rapeseed, beetroot, you name it. We don't want it changed. Don't care. I don't care how strong and resilient it is. Don't change it. Don't be putting fish genes into me prawn crackers. That's a bad choice, isn't it? Into me sugar puffs. There we go. Yeah, sugar puffs and fish. Anyway, I'll let that one go. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know definitely what you think. I think I can guess. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.